We can't fight the climate crisis without addressing gender inequality. But what do these two even have to do with each other? Well, they're more connected than you might think. A recent report by UN Women and ASEAN reveals the disproportionate impacts that climate change has on women and girls in the region. Let's explore three key facets of this. Firstly, there's child marriage. The report highlighted a troubling connection between climate change and rising rates of child marriage and adolescent births in ASEAN. In Timor-Leste, Cambodia, and the Philippines, data indicated that child marriage rates were higher in regions with high frequencies of drought. As families face economic hardships due to climate impacts, many feel pressured to marry off their children to alleviate financial burdens. Unfortunately, child marriage places girls at a higher risk of physical and sexual violence, pregnancy complications, and contracting HIV or AIDS, not to mention limiting their education and future opportunities. Second, there's poverty. In ASEAN alone, the UN predicts that climate change will drive millions into poverty by 2030. Just look at the recent Typhoon Yagi, which has derailed millions of lives across the region, causing a devastating economic loss of $3.3 billion US. According to the report, women are more likely than men to live in extreme poverty. Women of peak reproductive age are particularly vulnerable, given that this is a critical time when the gender gap widens as women transition from paid work to unpaid childcare. Women in this age group are significantly more likely to lose their jobs and livelihoods due to the impacts of climate change. Thirdly, there's the death rates. Let's go beyond ASEAN for a second and take a look at the bigger picture. Globally, women and girls are 14 times more likely to die than men during a climate disaster. 14 times. And this isn't because of anything biologically inherent to women, but rather because of their social and economic vulnerabilities. Research shows that societies with larger gender inequalities show greater disparities in disaster-related deaths. For instance, boys might face preferential treatment during rescue operations, and women caring for small children might face additional challenges during evacuations. So it's clear that climate change is a gendered issue and must be addressed as such. So what can be done? First, we need to increase women's representation in environmental decision-making bodies. Second, apply a gendered lens to our nationally determined contributions, or NDCs, to ensure that our climate strategies are gender responsive. And thirdly, in our research, news coverage, and just in our personal lives, we must continue to talk about climate change as a gendered issue. Let's advocate for a future where everyone is protected from the effects of climate change. Share your thoughts below and join the conversation.